Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA. Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
From the Fifth Quarter Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, you are listening to High School Hoops with our hosts, Steve Collins and Jake Steger.
All right, welcome to High School Hoops, first week of January. So you can tell by my voice that the cold, the non-stopping entire basketball season cold is still in my voice, or I'm yelling at my players too much. I don't really do that, but all right. So great topic this week, Coach. Coach comes up with most of the topics. Before we do that, just a big couple shout outs. First of all, to teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. Go over and check it out. Coach and I were just talking about some new courses that he's going to help me set up. I can't imagine a better time to join. Also to Dr. Dish, the #1 shooting machine on the market. They've decided to sponsor us again for 2020. So thank you to Dr. Dish. We appreciate that. They also are upping I got them up $50, people. So you mentioned Coach Unplugged or High School Hoops, and they'll give you $350 off your next purchase. So it does work. I guarantee it does work. It's a great machine. All right, so what's this week's topic, Coach?
So we're in mid-season for most of the high school programs across the country.
Some are almost like winding. It's crazy. I
cannot believe that.
I can't keep track of starts and stops in the state in the U.S. I think it's almost a 5-month window. Because we're late. We end of March, and a lot of people that I've talked to are done by the end of February. The southern states have baseball. They go, we can't compete against baseball.
That makes sense.
Start earlier. They start in October. It's almost like, anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. I digress.
The question of the day today is one that I think is everybody goes through at some point in their coaching career is, how do you end a losing streak within regards of season?
So I'm going to tell a story. So I've been very blessed, had a lot of talent, only had one losing season in 22 plus years. And I referred to it as the streak, where we played one conference opponent, then we lost to everybody else, and then played them again, and we ended up beating that one conference opponent, which stopped the streak. In recent years we've had a couple in a row, but we've been blessed not to have more than one or two in a row. I've never really delved on losing streaks in the sense that it's really about you at that point. Sometimes it can be scheduling issues. Sometimes it can be opponents that you're playing. But I think you got to stay the course. I don't tend to talk about it a lot because it's like, what are you going to do? I'm a very much of a goldfish coach. It's like, I'll let them have it and I will bring up some things, but there's nothing I can do about, a game that we lost to team X 3 weeks ago. We can learn from it, but we got to worry about the next opponent, because that's the great thing about being a high school basketball coach is I tell people that's why you don't want to be a football coach, because you play one game and then you got to wait a week. The thing about losing streaks is you're going to have lots of opportunities to end it. That's what I tell the boys. We were talking before we came on here that we're in a stretch right now where we play 5 games in 10 days. So if things are going well, it feels great. If things aren't going well, you always have, that next, you can't linger on the bad things. It's kind of a great life lesson. So it's something I really preach to the boys. It's like, well, you're going to make mistakes in life. You got to learn from it, pick yourself back up, brush yourself off, and let's move on. One of my state championship teams, we lost the last game of the regular season, and it was like, we ended up tying for conference that year because we lost it. We didn't win it outright. You would have thought, but it was like exactly what we needed. So sometimes a little streak isn't necessarily a bad thing either. Us, we played 3 of the top teams in the state and lost 3 in a row early in December. And, I was worried that I was going to lose their attention, and I didn't. Sometimes it's like, well, then we won the tournament in Florida against 3 really good opponents. And it's like, so I know in practice last week, I said, which one felt better? What do you want to feel? And then if we want that to happen, how do we convey that to practice? We're just getting over winter practice. Winter practices are horrible. There was a point, if you follow me on Twitter, there was a point about an hour through practice near the end. I think it was the last practice of winter break, and we had just lost them. We'd won that tournament. We had lost them. So we just kind of tanked it and played dodgeball and did some fun stuff in practice because it's a long haul. So same thing with those losing streaks. You kind of have to let them go and move forward. How did you deal with them, Coach?
I think number one, you have to be a realist about your team and who they are for that given year. You have to be understandable of, well, I have a lot of underclassmen, or I'm just not as good as some of my other opponents, and you have to be real with that. Now, you don't have that conversation with your team and you say, well, you're not as good as these people, but you have to consider realistic goals with your staff of where your kids are at.
Right.
And I always think that the key to ending a losing streak is focusing on progress, not perfection, constantly getting better and being competitive. Looking at your team, certain things, every losing streak is completely different for each team. It's not one size fits all.
Right. Yeah. That's so true. That's so true. It's like, yes. And it's about, like you and I were talking about earlier, it's sometimes about peaking at the right time.
Right. If you only got one guy scoring, how do you end up, what do you do within your offense to balance that scoring? Or if they're looking to deny that one score, how are you finding ways to find other people to get involved? Is it a certain, you guys can't handle pressure? There's so much. Is it a thing that goes beyond basketball? Is it a culture piece? Is your players not getting along? Is it, are those things outside the realm of the court, that you need to take care of? Is there one bad apple that's making it? I've had in regards to losing a player midseason for an incident, and we ended up being better, and we won a lot more games at the end of the year just because of that bad apple was off the team, and we ended up winning more games. So sometimes it goes beyond X's and O's. I think the number one thing we talk about all the time, one of the big things that we talk about on our podcast is reflection. I think you just got to constantly look at, from a standpoint of what are the things that are creating us to lose, and have conversations with your staff and the other coaches that are part of the team that you're coaching, because it's not one size fits all. And you know what? It's not always making huge changes, because like you only have so much time in the realm of, let's say you've lost 3 games in a row. You have to throw in a whole new offense, or we need to do this. Maybe it's right. I think that's one big
mistake. It's so hard. And I tell you, that's what I find. I mean, I'm against us going to 24 games at high school, because it's like I already feel like you and I were talking about, I'm playing this, I'm going Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Saturday. It's like I want to I'm a teacher first and then a basketball coach. I don't have time to teach them things. Like, so that's the issue I have sometimes, is like, we're playing we got to play. You got to take tests and quizzes. I get it, but you also got to teach. And you're right. Don't panic because you've lost a couple games and throw out the offense that you put in, for 6 weeks. What we try to do is, and this is a question we always talk, especially if we're in a losing streak. What do we have in? Is there anything that we could put in that complements what we already have in? not put a whole new offense in, but maybe put in something that can complement what we have in. If it's doing the same thing, we don't need it. What's the point? We're only gonna do it if it's going to complement it. Is kind of my feeling.
I also think that, as we talked about early on in the year, that defense progresses faster than offense. So if you're able to maybe make some adjustments defensively or add a different type of defense or a different way of looking at it, I think you can make progress quicker than trying to add more things in your offensive arsenal to end a losing streak as well. Because you can look at that team and we're going to face guard this guy. He's your top scorer, and everybody else, you're going to really pack it in this game and, try this and just continue with some of the other things you've already done, just some minor tweaks. And then constantly when you're looking at a losing streak is focus on that next game. Don't focus 5-6 games ahead. Focus on that game, what you're going to do, what you're going to put in place to try to win that game.
Right. Yeah. You can't go undefeated unless you win the first one, and you can't end a losing streak unless you win the next one. So you're right. Don't worry about 3 opponents down. Worry about that next opponent. I agree.
And I would say the last thing, I think one way to really get yourself in games is finding ways to get to the free throw line, I think, and getting to the free throw line, getting to the rim, getting high percentage shots, I think always keeps you in games and puts you in positions to win basketball games. I think that's a good way to help a losing streak as well. It's like, what can we do to get those high percentage shots and get to the free throw line? Yeah,
and that's the way to stop streaks in a game. But also, it's no matter what you're dealing. If runs in a game are done by getting to the rim and shooting free throws, it's the same thing with offenses.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, Coach?
No, I hope that everybody can try to solve all the problems that they have, because you know what, but basketball is all about streaks. You're going to you're going to go win 2 or 3 games really easily, and you're going to grind out 2 or 3 in a row. And it's just it's really connected to the human connection of it's a human game where as humans, we don't ride high all the time, and neither can our kids. It's just how we treat them and how we deal with it as we move forward. That's going to be the key for you to be a successful coach throughout the season.
Go join teachhoops.com. That'll get you rid of your losing streak. There you
Absolutely.
go.
That was
that's not even a soft sell. That's a hard sell, people. That's a hard sell. All right. Are we doing our shotting points, or what do we call them?
You mean our question of the day?
Yes.
How about why your team just got back from Florida? What's the benefits of doing a traveling tournament like you did?
The benefits.
Yeah.
The bad part is we don't sleep, and and we come back usually sick. The benefits are, we were doing the math. So we were doing the math on this. So I think we spent 5 days together. So 5 times 24. And then we come home and have 2 3-hour practices. One of my assistants turned to me and goes, "Coach, they're just sick of us. Like, you got to give them, they're going to look forward to Sunday not seeing us, because we've almost spent too much time together, which is, it's a band of brothers, I think, when that happens, and it's a good thing. But you also got to go to the other side. So I think the plus is it's literally, I want to win the tournaments, and we're the only, Memorial's the only team to win one of these national ones, which is crazy, with those Vincent King, Randolph. It's crazy. We've won 2 of them. It's crazy. We've won national tournaments. Those are great. Whatever, you get a trophy, blah, blah, blah. But that's not why I do them. I do them because it's almost like a forced retreat, where they only are hearing my voice, and they're only hearing the assistant coaches' voices, and they're only spending time with their teammates. It's just a lot easier to be in that foxhole with them when you're spending all that time together. And sometimes it works the other way. Sometimes A and B start fighting. Well, that's good. I'd rather have it now, and let's work it out. You don't always get along with that, great Aunt Sally, whatever, but you got to get along with her.
Right. It's like putting your team in a difficult situation before playoffs come in, kind of thing.
Yes. I don't want that to hit in February. I'd rather have it hit now. We deal with it and let's move on. So those are the issues too. It's like you're a big family per se, and you gotta go to Thanksgiving dinner. You're not going to get along with all of them, but how can you coexist, kind of thing. So I think that's the important thing, and it forces them because you have different rooms, different roommates, those kind of things. All right. Anything else, Coach?
Nope. Sounds great.
All right. Till next week. See ya.
Good.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.